Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. Before anything else, if you're watching this for the first time, please subscribe right now, hit the like button, share this video with your fellow Blinks and Monsties, and drop a comment below because I genuinely want to know what you think after watching this. Okay, now let's get into it, because this story is warmer, more real, and more powerful than anything I expected when I started digging into it. What if I told you that one of the most important moments in Chiquita's journey to becoming a K-pop idol happened not on a stage, not in a practice room, but in a private conversation, in Thai, with the woman she has admired her entire life? And what if I told you that the words spoken in that moment were so simple, so direct, and so completely human that when fans found out what was actually said, the internet couldn't stop talking about it? That's exactly what we're unpacking today. Because the story of Lisa and Chiquita is not just a cute senior-junior interaction for the fans to ship. It is a story about legacy, loneliness, belonging, and what it really takes to survive the K-pop industry when you're thousands of miles away from home. Stay with me until the very end, because the most important part of this story is not what you think it is. Let's start with why this connection between Lisa and Chiquita carries so much weight, because it didn't come from a PR team or a scheduled meeting. It came from something deeply personal. Lisa was once exactly where Chiquita stood, a teenage girl from Thailand, alone in Seoul, grinding through YG's brutal training system with no guarantee of a debut. She knows what that loneliness feels like. She knows what it costs to stay. And because she survived it and came out the other side as one of the most recognized performers on the planet, she made a choice that very few people at her level bother to make. She went back for the ones who came after her. That choice is the entire story we're telling today. Now, here is where the story gets interesting, and this is the part most people missed when it first happened. In 2022, during Blackpink's Rolling Stone interview, Lisa said something quietly stunning that barely registered at the time, but would explode across the internet years later when fans connected the dots. She said, "There is a Thai trainee that reminds me of when I was young. I'm trying to take care of her. It's not so much about giving advice. We eat together, go shopping. She's 17 and has been here for nearly 2 years." Read that again. Not so much about giving advice. From one of the greatest performers in K-pop history. What Lisa was describing wasn't mentorship in the clinical sense, it was something far more powerful. It was presence. It was letting a young Thai trainee know that the loneliness she was feeling was survivable, because someone who felt the exact same thing was now standing on the biggest stages in the world, and still had time for dinner. Fans later concluded that the trainee Lisa was referring to was Farida, who at that time was 17 and had been training at YG for approximately 2 years. But the reason this quote hits so hard is because it proves that long before babymonster debuted, long before any camera was rolling, Lisa was already quietly building a bridge between herself and the Thai girls who came after her. And Chiquita was standing right on that bridge. And then the photos hit. Back in 2021, years before babymonster ever debuted, pictures resurfaced online showing Lisa, Farida, and Chiquita sitting together at a Thai restaurant in Seoul. No cameras. No official schedule. No PR moment. Just 3 Thai women from the same company, across different generations, sharing a meal in a city that wasn't their home. When those photos spread across social media, the K-pop internet completely lost it, not because it was dramatic, but because it was so quietly, undeniably real. This wasn't Lisa performing the role of a good senior for a camera. This was Lisa, on her own time, making sure the youngest Thai girls in the building didn't feel as alone as she once did. Fans flooded the comments saying this proved exactly who Lisa is when nobody is watching. And honestly, they were right. That photo is worth more than any awards speech or brand campaign. It is the proof that what Lisa built in K-pop isn't just about stages and streaming numbers, it's about the people she carried with her along the way. But wait, because here is where Chiquita's side of this story truly begins, and it is something else entirely. Chiquita joined YG Entertainment as a trainee in March 2021, and just 3 months in, Hyun-suk himself saw her in her very first monthly evaluation and made a decision on the spot. He said publicly, "She has no fear. I wanted her to be part of the project right after seeing her first monthly evaluation stage." Think about what that means. Most trainees spend years fighting just to be noticed. Chiquita walked into her first evaluation after only 3 months, and the man who built Blackpink said he wanted her immediately. And he went even further. Hyun-suk said, "Chiquita is a very special kid as a producer. My hope is that she becomes just as popular as Lisa one day and practices global influence." He didn't just see talent. He saw a generational heir to what Lisa built. The fact that those words came from the same man who gave Lisa her shot in the first place makes them land with a completely different weight. This wasn't hype. This was the founder of YG Entertainment drawing a direct line from one Thai icon to the next, and telling the world to watch closely. Her introduction video, covering Ariana Grande's 7 Rings, hit 10 million views in just 10 days, making it the most viewed babymonster member introduction video at the time. The internet had already decided she was extraordinary before she ever set foot on a debut stage. And through all of that early attention, the one name that kept coming up, the one person Chiquita pointed to again and again as her biggest inspiration, was Lisa. Not as a distant idol to admire from afar, but as living proof that a Thai girl could step into the YG system, outlast every doubt, and come out the other side as someone the whole world knows. For Chiquita, Lisa wasn't just a role model. She was the answer to the most important question a young trainee far from home can ask herself: can someone like me actually do this? And the answer was already standing right there, in the same building, willing to take her to dinner. And then came the moment the internet genuinely could not stop talking about, the moment that is the entire reason this video exists. In Chiquita's official introduction video, she and Farida sat down with Lisa and asked her to watch their dance video. What happened next nobody was fully prepared for. Lisa, the woman considered one of the greatest dancers in K-pop history, went completely silent the moment their video started playing. Focused. Unsmiling. Analyzing every single detail the way only someone who has spent their entire life mastering movement can. Fans watching said it was like watching Mentor Lisa from the Chinese survival show Youth with You come back, that same intense, sharp, completely invested presence. And when the video ended, Lisa spoke to them directly in Thai. Their language. The language of home. The language that doesn't require translation or performance, just truth. To both of them she said, "I think it's amazing how you can both dance like this in high heels. How can you do that at your age? Already, that's more than most seniors would give." But then she turned specifically to Chiquita, the one with the shortest training time, the newest to the system, the one still finding her footing, and she said something that stopped the internet cold. "Even though you haven't trained for long, you're just as good as the other girls, Chiquita." Stop. Rewind that. The greatest dancer YG has ever produced looked at the youngest, least experienced member and said, "You belong here. You are already their equal." For a girl who moved across the world chasing a dream that most people would call impossible, hearing those exact words, from that exact person, in the language of home, that is not just advice. That is armor. That is the kind of validation that changes how a person carries themselves for the rest of their career. But Lisa wasn't done. Because after the validation came the advice, and this is the part that is so deceptively simple it almost sneaks past you if you're not paying attention. Lisa told them she understood that they still might feel embarrassed or shy when performing. And then, instead of offering technique or corrections or a structured lesson, she said just this: "Don't be shy. Let's do it, girls." 4 words. That's the secret advice. And I know what you're thinking, that's it? But here is what you need to understand about those 4 words and who they came from. Lisa built her entire career by refusing to shrink. She walked into a system that was not designed for someone who looked like her, sounded like her, or came from where she came from, and she made herself so undeniably present that the world had no choice but to see her. Every time she stepped on a stage, she made a choice to take up space completely. "Don't be shy" is not a generic pep talk. Coming from Lisa, in that room, to those two girls who left Thailand for the exact same dream she once had, it is the most personal, most earned, most compressed piece of wisdom she could possibly offer. It is her handing Chiquita and Farida the one thing no training schedule in the world can teach: permission to be completely, unapologetically themselves on stage. And for Chiquita, the girl Yang Hyun-suk called fearless from day one, hearing it out loud from her biggest inspiration in the world? That moment was everything. And the most beautiful part of this entire story? Chiquita already has it. Yang Hyun-suk said so the first time he saw her. The fans confirmed it with 10 million views. Lisa validated it in that room, in Thai, face to face. And now babymonster is on world stages, performing across Asia, the United States, and Japan on their 2025 Hello Monsters World Tour, with their debut album Drip charting on the US Billboard 200. Chiquita, the Magne, the youngest, the girl who walked into her first YG evaluation after just 3 months and left with a spot in the group, is out there doing exactly what Lisa told her to do. Fearlessly. Unapologetically. With everything she has. This is what Thailand's K-pop legacy actually looks like. Not a headline. Not a comparison chart. It looks like a woman who made it, quietly taking the girls who came after her to dinner at a Thai restaurant in Seoul so they'd know they weren't alone. It looks like 4 words spoken in a shared language that no one else in the building fully understood. It looks like one generation reaching back to pull the next one forward. And if you want to know why the internet can't stop talking about Lisa and Chiquita, that's why. Because in an industry that is often cold, calculated, and relentlessly competitive, this story is unmistakably, irreducibly warm. And we are all just lucky enough to be watching it unfold in real time. And that is everything for today's video. If you made it all the way here, you are the real Monsties and Blinks energy, and I am here for it. Go ahead and smash that like button if this story gave you all the feels. Leave a comment below telling me which moment hit you hardest. Was it Lisa's Rolling Stone quote, the Thai restaurant photos, or her words to Chiquita in that room? I want to know. Subscribe if you haven't already, and please share this video because this is the kind of story that deserves to reach every single fan. New content every week. See you in the next one. Ahyeon.